This is a message from your guides reading for divine expression. So I always begin with the chakras, the crystals. You did have a lot of chakra things coming up when I got the code name from your guides. So that's probably why I'm saying chakras. But crystals, I know this is your first reading with me. This is how I always start. So I have 2 crystals that I pulled for everyone that I'm reading today from our Patreon group. And then I pulled 2 crystals for you specifically. And there's a lot of energies coming in here already. So I have 4 crystals here to start with. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the group ones. The selenite I'm not going to go over because I said so much about this recently in our Patreon group reading. So selenite, this was one that was pulled for the group. And then I have malachite here. So this is really good for psychic protection in general actually, and then also grounding. And then for this reading specifically, I pulled my crystal quartz pyramid here. So a lot of focused energies coming down, and crystal quartz a lot of times has to do with, well, I was going to say clearing, but I almost said healing. So I'm going to say healing as well. So healing, clearing, of course, a lot of times those kind of have to do with one another. So as we're healed, we clear. As we clear, we're healed. So then I have my peacock ore here. So as you can see, this has so many different color variations in it. So this actually tends to correspond with all of the different chakras. It represents all of the different ones. And again, it typically has to do with working with each of those chakras to get them balanced and operating properly, and also healing them, clearing them, and really anything related to them and helping them work better. So thinking, where do I start here? So I have a guide coming up. I don't feel like they're going to get much into who they are or anything like that because of the time frame, and there was already a lot of things that were coming up. So firstly, I'll say, so whenever I'm surrounding, I always surround the room in protective space before I begin. And then I surround myself, and then whoever I read, I always envision them surrounded in protective space before I begin the reading, so that only their true guides are what come through, and that's what I connect with. And even vice versa, so nothing's coming from me as well to the person. And I typically surround them, I envision them surrounded in positive space, and I'll use one of my crystals that I've drawn for their reading. Or in this case, I used one of the group crystals, so I used my malachite. But when I'm surrounding the room and retrieving the code name, in this case, I had to retrieve your code name from your guide. So as I'm doing that, I'm always playing like meditation music. Once in a while, I do it silently if I'm guided to do that. In this case, I was using specifically, I was going to use throat chakra music, and then specifically they were saying no, healing throat chakra music. So I specifically went into the playlist I have and I clicked on heal throat chakra specifically. And wasn't really expecting such a big block here to come up though. That is something that as soon as I was surrounding you in the protective space, especially since I'm using crystals, they typically will bump into different blocks and things. Whatever blocks your guides are wanting me to bump into, come across, so that I can talk to you about those blocks. So this came up so intensely. This almost felt to me like this might be specifically like a chakra in the emotional body and related specifically to the emotional body. Now, this might have extended into other bodies as well, but because of the way that it was feeling, because sometimes I'll feel emotional chakras or emotional blocks more intensely even than just regular energetic blocks, because obviously there's like an emotion attached to those. So they just feel a little bit more intense when I'm bumping into them. So this came up really, really noticeably, very noticeably, the throat chakra. And then I was getting the word calcified. Almost like you hear about with the pineal gland, you'll hear about the pineal gland being calcified. So this is more of an energetic type of thing. But this chakra was definitely not functioning too well. There even felt almost like something physical happening here as well, like almost from something physical. So this would have to be from something that you're either ingesting now or that you have been, like that you have ingested in the past. This could be like a bad habit. It could be like smoking, something like that, or it could even be some kind of other substance. It could even be a type of food or something, but it definitely felt like something something physical and something more negative. Like it could be like an addictive type of habit. Even with food, obviously we can have addictive habits, or again, this could be along the lines of smoking or something more like this. And again, it doesn't have to be something that you're doing now. It could be something that you have done before, but this definitely affected this chakra. And again, I was getting the word calcified, and so it almost seemed almost like the chakra had almost closed over a little bit. So it's like there's gunk around and over and even under the chakra that needs to kind of lift off of it before you'll be able to actually work on getting it to function properly. Now, this didn't only feel like a physical thing at all. They did kind of mention that, but this felt specifically, well, the throat chakra has to do with expression, and this felt like a really severe block for a very long time when it came to being able to authentically express yourself and authentically express who you are. And there was this feeling that you're kind of just beginning, really, and you have been, to come out of that and to feel like now you can really begin expressing who you are in an authentic way, and revealing yourself outwardly more so, and to others, and even to yourself. But even though you're stepping out of that more, there's just from years and years of having this specific block there, it really, really affected this specific chakra. Now, the other chakra that was really coming up was the heart chakra. Okay, and yeah, they're reminding me with a pain in here. So there was also one directly under the throat chakra. Obviously, there are other chakras other than the 7. Some of them, people have already identified them or come up with names for them. This might be one of those. I haven't really studied that, and I tend to, sometimes I'll bump into other chakras that are definitely not listed, because there's an infinite amount really that a person can have, since we're not really physical, obviously, and the 7 chakras, they correspond with our physical body. So I don't really work by 7, only because 7 just doesn't happen sometimes in my readings. So this was another one that was coming up, and then the other was underneath that one. So the other was the heart chakra. And I was kind of getting a pain in here on the right side of my heart chakra. as well. But I mean, I feel other chakras also, like I feel my solar plexus. There are other chakras that are definitely, that I'm definitely feeling as well. But these are the three main ones that your guides were bringing up. And so that kind of tells me that these other chakras, and I was feeling a lot of them, I was feeling, I would say probably like 6 of the main 7 chakras I was feeling. And then also this other one that they were pointing out. So there could be other chakras as well. But these are the 3 main ones. And so that really tells me that when this stuff is cleared, especially the throat chakra, then we're going to, then you're going to have relief in the other chakras, and you're not going to have to work on those as much specifically for a while. Now with the throat chakra, not the throat chakra, excuse me, the heart chakra, the odd thing that was coming up is there was kind of an odd energy with that I was kind of picking up on at first. And I'm seeing it and it's spinning and I'm feeling this kind of odd energy and I'm thinking, what is that? And then I get this pain in that area of the heart chakra. And so this felt like, okay, on the surface, this heart chakra, it seems to be doing better. It's spinning properly, so it's not noticeable in the same way like this throat chakra is. So this is definitely, I would say, the heart of the block. But obviously, the heart has to do with expression as well and emotions and emotional healing, and we can collect things in here. So again, it seemed like on the surface it was doing pretty well, and it feels like the things that are affecting, it feels like now you're coming into this time where things are getting better for you. And you're starting to feel better, you're starting to communicate better when it comes to your needs and what you want, and even with yourself. This is not only about outwardly with other people, but again, even inwardly with yourself. You're allowing yourself to be more authentic and express things that, you know, maybe years before you weren't allowing that as much. So your guides are definitely acknowledging how much you've improved in a really long way that you've come when it comes to your expression, your divine expression. And a lot of these things that are coming up are, it's not like so much now. Obviously, as you clear things, right, there are going to be still things that you're doing now, or ways that you communicate or whatever it is, that you drop and that you let go of. But still, for the main part, the things that you're doing now really are not adding. In fact, a lot of the things that you're doing now are helping you. They're more helpful in terms of how authentic you're being and how authentically you, again, articulate your needs and what will fulfill you, what you want out of life, and your emotional fulfillment as well, your spiritual fulfillment. You're taking the time to progress spiritually and emotionally and mentally, and not only through physical means. So you don't have all these areas that you're sort of blocking out. You're also not as confused about which direction to take or sort of your path. Even if it feels like that sometimes, you are divinely guided for sure. There's definitely that energy there with you now. So again, that's the reason that this heart chakra is feeling these two different things here. Because on the one hand, currently, you are processing things much better. Things are going much more smoothly for that reason, even if there are some hiccups. Um, Still, you're being more authentic, and so the things that you're doing aren't going to cause like major hiccups, or major stumbling blocks as you're continuing, because you're also continuing to address things and to address issues that you have. So you're doing very well, especially compared to how you were doing in terms of how you operate, just how you operate in your life. So that is why the heart chakra is running pretty smoothly. It is it is circulating energies again, and there has been a degree of healing for sure, and you are feeling better definitely, and you are able to authentically express yourself more and more. Okay, this divine expression that they were referring to with your code name. So this means who you really are, your true self. It's coming out more. You are allowing it out more. You're being authentic in that way. And so this automatically causes healing. It causes healings of your healing of your chakras, and for them to come into alignment more. And also for you to come into your path more, is what your guide is indicating. And usually I would say guides, but right now I want to say guide. Now everybody has more than one, but with this reading, it's been basically one that I've been feeling. Now I don't always feel guides, even though I know I'm communicating to them. My team is always here, but it is the fact that even if I'm using mediumship, I'm always using mediumship, so I'm always tapping into the energies of the guides around people. But sometimes a guide doesn't really want me to feel them. They don't really want to talk about themselves. In this case, I am feeling the guide, but I'm not feeling anything specific about them. They're not ready to come in with that yet, because of the other things that they want to address. And other guides, while I'm sure they are here, they're not really present in the way of sort of letting you know that they are there. So in other words, again, there are other things to address before they're really going to come forward and talk about themselves. So I know that was one of the questions that you had, but they're not really ready to step up and answer those yet until they've talked more about your needs, is what they're saying. So it's sort of underneath that. It's old stuff that's causing this pain there that I kept feeling. So the issues with the heart chakra, they've started to be resolved more, and now it is more on a regular basis. It's actually functioning pretty well and pretty properly. And they're saying that maybe somebody else wouldn't necessarily even pick up on this in a reading. So it depends on what your guides sort of want to get through. Or maybe if it were just like a surface thing, then somebody might tell you that this chakra is doing pretty well. So this is stuff underneath. It's sort of like old baggage, like old emotional stuff that you still need to remove and that you still need some healing from. So they're saying that diet is definitely one way to help decalcify this throat chakra in here, because it kind of felt like it was closing up a little bit, and then that's affecting the other chakras a little bit in the same way. Of course, if there's been an issue with not being able to open up and express your divine self, there's going to be this tendency like this feeling like this, that's sort of maintained in the energy of the chakras. But you're definitely not doing that so much now. You've definitely removed a lot of that. So again, they're saying good job. Okay, and that's all that your guides have to say for this reading. So thank you very much, Divine Expression, for allowing me to do this reading for you. I truly hope that it benefits you. Namaste.